Think about letting your head just simply hang, and your spine hang from your hips. Take a breath into your back body. And softly release your fingertips down to the mat. Halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Do your best to really draw your heart forward, your shoulder blades back, and then add a big bend into your right knee and just press your hip bones towards the right, like you're pressing your left hip bone back and right, and then let your head get really heavy again. One more big breath in. Breath out. Halfway lift, inhale. Add a big bend into your left knee, bow forward. Same thing, full breath. One more time, big breath in. Long exhale. Lift and lengthen. From here, take your right foot, you'll pick it up, and like a crossover, you're going to bring it behind your left leg. And I like to place mine all the way outside of my mat. Okay, so my right foot is outside of my mat. Options here. You think about pressing your left hip bone back. Some people are already going to feel the stretch in the outside of their left glute or IT band or hip area. You can keep your hands directly on the mat here. If you need some support, definitely grab your blocks. I also love to walk my hands towards the upper right hand corner of the mat, either with or without blocks. Then press your left hip bone backwards. You get really long through your left waist. And hopefully you feel something in your left IT band. We're all built a little differently, so if you're not feeling anything, kind of fiddle with it, play with it, bend your knees, press your hips back and forth one at a time, and see if you can explore enough to find a stretch that works for you here. And just relax your facial muscles. And really send your breath into wherever it needs to go. And halfway lift. If your hands are walked out forward, bring them back to the top of your mat. Step your right foot forward and take a fold. And then again, halfway lift, create length in your spine. Keep that length. Take your left foot, step it back. Right, again, like a crossover. Press your right hip bone backwards, lengthen through your right side, and again, either you fold forward here or walk your fingertips or your hands with blocks over towards the left side of your mat. And if this is feeling a little sticky for you, again, I just encourage you to sit with the discomfort, right, of the stretch and see if you can really send your breath into those spaces that are feeling really tight and sticky, and stay with them long enough to maybe watch a release. The stretch is going to shift over time. Take another full breath. Lift and lengthen. Walk your hand center. Step your left foot to the top of your mat. Okay, and then from here, take your right leg, step it back just about halfway. We'll come right into pyramid. So some people, you might not need your blocks. You can either have flat hands or come up to your fingertips here. If support feels good, you guys, walk your blocks back. Basically line your fingertips, their palms up with your left foot, the toes. And then once you get here, see if you can press into the outer edge of your right hip to roll your right hip bone forward. Draw your left hip bone back. So press your left heel down, pull your left hip bone back, and then see if you can find a slight pelvic tilt, like you're tilting your tailbone up towards the sky. From there, pull your heart forward. Now what tends to happen is you stick your butt out so much that you collapse in your low belly. So then draw the front of your rib cage in. So you get really long, both through the back of your left leg and through the spine and out through the crown of your head. And this might be enough of a stretch. Like once you find that activation, a lot of times you'll already feel something in your left hamstring. So you're welcome to stay here with a flat back. If you want to take it further, you keep your nice long spine and the core engagement and you bow forward over your left leg. Okay, in which case you might get rid of your blocks if you're doing that. And there's lots of options here. You can walk your fingertips forward if you like. You can add a little bit more weight to your legs by walking your hands backwards. And you can also just support yourself by keeping your hands in neutral. Now what tends to happen is if you're really sort of actually flexible in your left leg, you'll see that you can hyperextend your knee. So if you're pushing so much into the back of your knee that your knee locks out, I want you to try to add a little micro bend in this left knee. So you're engaging your muscles. And then breathe into the stretch. And again, especially if this is a little intense for you, I encourage you to continue to scan your body. Focus on the places for a moment that you can soften, like your face, your jaw, maybe even your shoulders. Let the back of your head get heavy. And then send your breath into the spaces that are feeling restricted right now. Let's take one more deep breath in. Big breath out. Okay. To transition, look forward, come into a flat back. Lift up your right leg like you're coming into a standing split. And simply bend your left knee. You'll step your right foot all the way to the back of your mat to find a low lunge. Lower your right knee down to the floor. Lift your arms up overhead. Get long through your lower back. Press down into your right toes. Again, roll your right hip bone forward and then lift up energetically from your lower abdomen. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Release both hands inside your left foot. Walk your left foot out towards the left side of your mat. And then from here, just simply lower your forearms down to the floor. If they don't touch the floor, you can take your forearms to a block. And if that feels, again, still too intense, you'll just simply stay on your hands, right? That's a great option. It's the same exact stretch. It just is going to look a little different in everybody. Okay, and one important alignment thing here, you guys, is that your left ankle should be underneath your left knee, so it's not worth it to scoot your foot back just to get your forearms on the ground, right? So the whole point of this stretch is to really open up the back of this left hip and hamstring. So if you need a block, you take the block or you keep your hands down. One more breath here. Good. Come back up onto your right hand. Point your left toes slightly out to the side, like they're lining up with the left diagonal, like you were lining them up with the left-hand corner of your mat. I like to roll onto the pinky toe edge of my foot and then flex the inside of my foot off of the floor. And then pull that foot towards you. Take your left hand to your left thigh and work on opening up your chest, bringing it forward. So again, you should experience a nice stretch in the left side of your left leg. If you want to take this a little further, we'll go into galaxy. So you bend your right knee. Reach back with your left hand to grab the foot, and then press your foot into your hand to open your heart. Lift your chest. Now keep your heart lifted, and then slowly draw your right foot in towards your right glute. Keep rolling your right hip bone forward to get a nice big quad stretch. Yeah, and you'll really want to breathe into those quads here. Keep pressing the ground away from you so you don't collapse in your right shoulder. Take one more nice big inhale. And exhale, you slowly release. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee, heel toe your left foot back into center in line with your left hip. Bend your right knee and just step your feet all the way to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, big breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Good. Come right into chair pose just for a moment. Fire up those quads. Take a big breath in. Interlace your hands behind your back. Lift your chest one more time. Belly button draws in. And exhale, forward fold. Shift some weight into the fronts of your feet. Lift your sitting bones towards the sky. Just let your arms spill overhead. If you need to use a strap here, you can use a strap as well. Halfway lift, release your hands. Pick up your left foot. Step your left foot halfway back. Again, we'll come into pyramid. So heel to heel alignment. Walk your hands back. If you're using your blocks, take your blocks with you. And then see if you can roll your left hip bone forward and pull your right hip bone back. Lift your tailbone, lift your heart, and then squeeze the front of your ribs in to engage your abdomen. Either you stay here, you breathe into that. If there's already a lot of sensation, you guys, I encourage you to stay in the flat back. If not, then you fold forward. And you can let your head drop. But you still want to work on having a long spine. So still work on slightly lifting your tailbone here, drawing your ribs in and bringing your heart forward, not just down. Micro bend your right knee, especially if you're pretty flexible. Actually, even if you're not flexible, you can probably still lock out your knee, so try not to do that. A little tiny micro bend. It's actually more work, so it makes you engage your muscles in the front side of your leg a little bit more. But you can still get just as much of a stretch in the back of your leg. While we're here, keep filling up the back of your rib cage with lots of breath and space. Next breath in, halfway lift. Again, we'll transition through standing split just for a moment. Lift your left leg up. Bend your right knee, step your left foot all the way to the back of your mat, left knee down. Untuck your left toes, come right up into Anjaneyasana, so your low lunge. Draw your right hip bone back, lift up through your low ribs, reach through the crown of your head. Then keeping the energy between your feet like you're pulling them towards each other, maybe slide your right knee forward just a little bit more. Long inhale. Exhale, slowly release. Both hands are going to come to the inside of your right foot. Heel toe your right foot out to the right side of your mat. And again, we'll come into our lizard here with your back knee down. So either your hands, blocks can come to your, forearms can come to your blocks. We're doing this have probably already. We're not really like but there still is an activation to open up all the way here into the moment. So try to keep drawing your right shoulder. And also keep working on sliding that left hip bone forward so you don't totally collapse. Just stay into galaxy. So again, your left hand will come down. You can remove your block. Open your right toes towards the right. Come into the knife edge of your right foot. Take your right hand to your right thigh. So press the pinky toe side of your right foot down and pull it towards the back of the mat. You're drawing your right hip bone back and down, and then maybe just press your thigh out, working on externally rotating your thigh. Either you stay here or you bend your left leg and work on reaching back. All right, so press your hand into your foot into your hand, open your right shoulder. Your heart open, draw your foot towards your feet. It's a nice quad stretch. Send your breath to where it needs to go. Softly release. Okay. Release your right hand to the ground, tuck your left toes, heel toe your right foot back into center. Back, so lift your back knee, step your right foot to the back of the mat, come right into your down dog. Once you arrive, just kind of pedal out your feet one at a time, sway your hips side to side. Settle into stillness, soften your heels towards the ground, really press the floor away from you, get long through your back and long through the backs of your legs. Lift your heels, walk your feet all the way up to the top of your mat. You can bend your knees if you need to. Halfway lift once you arrive. Forward fold. Inhale, rise all the way up to standing. Reach tall up overhead. Exhale your hands into your heart. Good. And take a moment just to thank yourself for making space, making the time to dedicate to your body, to your well-being today. And choose to take that with you and into the rest of your day today.